This is Humphrey, a 24-year-old tango instructor. And this is Pen Chang, a 22-year-old social media content creator. They may not know it, but they're both at the center of the next crisis looming over China.
就你连工作都没有找到，那你每个月还要固定去支出养老金的话，那你的钱从哪里来呢？
Gao and Humphrey are among the estimated tens of millions of mostly young workers who have suspended their contributions to China's pension system.
In about 10 years, Chinese pension fund is not going to have enough money to support China's retirees.
It's part of the reason why, on January 1st, China officially raised its retirement age for the first time in more than 40 years. So why are so many young Chinese refusing to pay into the pension system? And what does that mean for the future of the world's second largest economy? A looming retirement crisis isn't something unique to China.
Violent protests broke out in Paris yesterday over changes to the government's pension plan.
We owe $38 trillion, not counting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, which is going bankrupt.
But what is unique to China is the scale.
More than 400 million people are expected to be 60 and above by the year 2035. That's out of 1.4 billion people in China.
And if you put that into context, that's more than the population of the US and Canada combined. When they retire, most of them will be eligible to receive some sort of benefit.
Like anything in China, China's pension system is staggering in size and scale. It actually has the world's largest social security network, and the basic state pension covers 1.1 billion people. That's 80% of the population.
And that system covers things from work injury, retirement, pensions, and maternal leave and things like that.
The easiest way to navigate China's pension maze is to think of it as 3 pillars.
First and biggest of those is the basic pension system, which is managed by the state and covers over 1 billion people. People with a formal job are required by law to contribute into this fund, while payments are voluntary for those who aren't in formal employment. Within this pillar, the most important segment covers urban business workers. The second pillar is the voluntary corporate pension, where companies can decide if they want to set up retirement plans for their employees.
You can think of it as your 401k in the US. It covers 31 million people and it has 3.2 trillion yuan in assets.
And the third and newest pillar is the voluntary individual pension, which was introduced in 2022.
It's kind of like an equivalent to the IRA in the US. People can put money into this tax-sheltered account and you can pick what investments you want to put into.
60 million people have signed up to this plan, but only less than a third have made any deposits, and the funds only attracted 28 billion yuan. Now, each one of these pillars is underfunded to some degree. According to a report published back in 2019, the segment in Pillar 1 that covers urban workers is expected to run out of money by 2035. This was a key chart in that report. The line shows the balance in China's urban business workers' pension fund, which is expected to peak in 2027. Look at what happens after that. The key reason behind this?
Demographics. It all comes down to demographics.
Remember this?
For the next 30 years at least, all couples may only have one single child each.
China's one-child policy was introduced in 1979 with the goal of curbing rapid population growth. And by its own measures, it was widely successful. This chart shows how the birth rate decreased by more than half since the policy was introduced. This created a unique family structure that's now almost universal in China.
If you think about the 4-2-1 structure, 4 grandparents, 2 parents doting on 1 child, that dynamic was the model in China for many years until the government ended the one-child policy. Now the cards are being flipped where the one child has to take on the responsibility of taking care of 6 aging people.
The government has been trying to reverse the impacts of the one-child policy, but these efforts haven't really worked. birth rates have kept going down despite new incentives for families to have 2 or more children.
China recently experienced 2 years in consecutive of negative population growth. The younger generation of people who can contribute to the pension system, that size has declined as Chinese population overall declines.
And at the same time,
More than 20 million people are expected to retire in China each year for the next decade.
all of this means that while every year more and more people in China will be collecting their pension, fewer of them will be of working age and thus able to contribute into the retirement fund. At the same time, the young people who are of working age, like Gao and Humphrey, who we met earlier, often cannot afford to contribute or they simply prefer not to.
在深圳养老的话，我要交的养老金1个月差不多在1500左右，其实也是不小的开支。1年的话，你都差不多有个2-3万块钱了，2-3万块钱我拿去旅个游、买个包，不好吗？而且我现在交的钱，我是拿来去养别人的，不是用在我身上的。
Underlying Gao's decision is also a lack of confidence about the future of China's economy.
你到65岁，谁知道中国几年后的经济发展怎么样？你说，甚至你之后要交的更多，他退回来的也就那么一点，你够不够你之后的去承担、去 cover 掉你的生活开支，够不够也是个问题。所以你现在去，与其交这么多，还不如就是说别交了。
It's a view shared by Humphrey, who works as a researcher at a university and a part-time dance teacher in Beijing.
我打算一直在工作岗位上干到死，所以我还是有好好锻炼身体的时候，至少活到90岁。我觉得活到90岁，我也要就是保持一个大脑清醒的状态去，不管是跳舞也好，教学也好。但是说实在，你说经济下行的话，哪个国家不是这样？哪个国家养老金没有被现在交过来被挪用到其他地方的一个风险呢？
Out of all the flexible workers, the majority of them are under 40, and 70% of them only make less than $1,100 a month. That means a lot of these people can't make ends meet. They don't have enough money to put into the state pension system after they meet their monthly demands.
A full-time job does not guarantee greater pension contributions either.
The pension system is also getting squeezed by companies not complying where the companies should be contributing to workers' pension.
According to a recent survey of 6,000 Chinese firms, only 28% were fully compliant on Social Security support. This growing strain on the pension system is what led the Chinese government to announce its historical measure.
Lawmakers have decided to raise the retirement age by up to 5 years.
As China transformed from one of the poorest economies in the world to the second largest economy in the world, its labor retirement age has not changed, and that is a problem.
Major economies like the US, UK, and Japan all have higher retirement ages than China, even with the new policy in place. Yet, the decision triggered discontent across the country.
就其实说难听一点，可能就是中国没钱了。是要靠我们身上去拿走一部分去养其他人，虽然这是为了让整个国家正常运作下去，不让经济有危机嘛，就是对于国家来说肯定是好的，但可能对于我们老百姓来说是一个不是特别好的一个政策。
There's also questions as to whether raising the retirement age will help alleviate the growing pressures on the pension system and to stem wider fallout from the generational imbalance.
The issue is only postponed with this move. Ultimately, the government will have to reform its pension system.